All right, so now we're recording. Everybody on your best behavior.
That's no fun.
That was really more of just a mental note. Monique, I sent you a link through Facebook Messenger.
Got it.
Dropbox. So we have 13 images to cover tonight. But a little housekeeping first, and then get some notes. First of all, we do have a visitor tonight, and we would always call them out during a face-to-face meeting. But Christine Baker is here as a guest of Asina. And to her credit, she has submitted an image for a critique. So good on you. It's not easy to do that, especially with a new group. So thumbs up.
Thank you.
So it's just to kind of give you sort of what to expect. The idea of all this is to be very constructive, and we don't tear anybody down. We're going to give you some, I have everything loaded into Lightroom right now. So we'll be able to even show you some idea of what we're talking about as far as, you know, if the exposure could be a little bit better, or maybe some contrast, or what a different crop might look like, and that kind of thing. So, but we, at no point are we ever trying to tear anybody down. That's not what this is about. So, so I really applaud you for participating right off the bat. It's not easy to do. So,
Thanks to Asina.
well, and you know, obviously we're doing something right if Asina's growing the club. So thank you, Asina, for putting it out there like that. It's great.
Oh, I was glad to have a friend out here too. So
Yeah, absolutely. So what's everybody been out shooting recently? I mean, other than the dragway, anybody doing anything fun?
I'm getting all prepped up for the fall foliage a week early, it looks like, this year. So it might mess up my vacation week. So I'm debating if I'm going to either take a week off earlier next week, or if I'm going to just outside the Berkshires.
The Berkshires are nice. I'll be out there. Oh, I was supposed to be out there October 16th and 17th, and that event was just canceled. So never mind. I won't be out there. My last major event of the year. Just found out today it's been canceled. So
There are a lot of bugs and flowers. That's what I've been doing.
yeah, absolutely. Get up close, see nature.
I went over to the coast today. The storm kicking up off the coast is throwing up some nice waves, even at low tide. So it's a good time to hit the coast.
Nice.
Yeah,
Jacob was out there today too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was today.
Yeah, I was doing the sunsets out on Bull Lake.
Yeah, that's great. I'm just glad to hear people are getting out. I think in the beginning of all of the lockdowns and things, people really did huddle sort of like in their homes, and no one got out and did anything. So it's really nice to hear people getting out and seeing people posting stuff, and yeah, that's good. It's good. We all need it.
Even during the coronavirus, I was like buzzing around town. 4th of July, there was a house that's down on, I think it's First Crown Point Road. They have a barn, and I've been eyeing that barn for a year, and it was just after 4th of July, I took a picture of it and posted it on the Stratford town community. Got a lot of likes. It's really a nice barn window with flowers in it. It was really cool.
Very cool. So
I have been doing a lot of processing of older pictures that I had passed on by. I've even processed some recently that were 14 years old that, you know, when I went to Italy and shot a particular city, if I got 5-6 keepers out of it, I left the other 300 to the side. And now I've been going back and digging through my inventory and getting some great shots out of them.
Yeah,
And
the
the
Boston
process,
series is just gorgeous that you've been posting, the Boston architecture series.
yeah. So Wednesday, I was going to say after that, Wednesday, I had to drop my son off. He lives on Tremont Street. So I dropped him off Wednesday morning. I said, well, I'm here. I went and parked in the Boston Common parking garage and walked out to the city, and there were very few people around. I didn't come in contact with anybody, and I walked a fair portion of the financial district because I was looking for some fine art architectural shots, and I got some, I think I got a couple of keepers in there, so I was happy with those.
it's pretty wild seeing Boston with no people, isn't it?
It's weird. Even
It
the
is.
parking garage was mostly empty for a Wednesday, about 9-ish when I pulled in, and There was nobody around. I had my mask on the whole time, but I wasn't worried about running. I didn't run into anybody. There was no crowded streets or street corners, or I had the
Yeah,
whole city to myself.
I went a couple of weeks ago. My husband had to go into Brigham and Women's on a Saturday morning at 7:00. And he was going to be there for a couple hours. So I walked all around the whole Northeastern, Simmons College, Wentworth. There were no college students. There was nothing. It was strange.
Yeah, it's not Boston without the hordes, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's like I get used to it. I go in on Sunday mornings about 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Couple things. All the parking meters are empty and all the parking meters are free.
You got to get over that 6 a.m. stuff, man. It's
I should go at 5.
okay, all right.
The earlier the better.
The good light is there.
No, plus with the sun rising a little bit later, it's not like you have to wake up at 3:30 in the morning to get to where you want to go for the sunrise. You can actually wake up at a little bit more reasonable hour. Granted, you might need to wear an extra layer first thing because the first 2 days of this week were freezing cold when I woke up. I was like, whoa.
No joke. This is the first time I broke out the pants underneath the pants, underneath the shirt to go out. Yep. Jackets, hoodies, whole 9 yards. Felt like an Eskimo. Whatever. Get it done.
You kind of look like Randy from Christmas Story.
We just turned on our heat today.
I'll admit, I've turned my heat on. I don't care what the calendar says. If I'm cold, I'm cold.
Right. Now watch. 2 weeks, we'll get snow. Great.
Yeah.
And then we'll all be out.
At least it'll be moisture.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
I
right.
took a walk today in Vaughan Woods, and I was actually hoping to possibly get a little bit of a battling brook because I didn't get a good sunrise this morning. Streams are all dried up, river's low, there's droughts. I forgot about the droughts going on. I didn't realize how severe it actually is. There is like all the ferns in the woods were all dried up already. It just looked very dismal and like the lack of life completely, you know.
Yeah, I love my lawn, but I had to turn the irrigation system off last week when they started talking about it getting really dry out. So I turned it off so I wouldn't drain the wells around here. And my lawn died in about 3 days.
Oh yeah, everything's.
I love the fact that I haven't had to mow my lawn.
I haven't mowed it almost 2 months right now. It's crazy. Yeah.
So we had that little stretch of rain a couple weeks ago, and like it blew up. All of a sudden, everything grew really like my lawn. So I mowed it down. It hasn't grown since.
Again.
Sean, you keep pushing that wine glass up there. You're going to make me walk to the kitchen. Just keep it up.
It's a tasty wine too. It's a beautiful Sauvignon Blanc.
Well, it'd be nice if you could share.
If
Got to
could
be a
just wire
Zoom
it over,
feature
I
for
would.
that. Let me see if I can find it here.
If I could wire it to you, Reed, I absolutely would.
Oh, nice job.
But it's not possible, you know. And so, all right. So let's see. Sina stepped away. So, oh, there she is, getting a beer. Good for you.
I decided to give in.
Hey, you know, it's a monthly meeting.
Well, I'm not drinking alone, so I feel better.
We usually have a cash prize for monthly meetings. It's a big draw of our club, you know.
I know. I only go there for the drinks. The photography is just a bonus, you know.
I'll just be sitting here with my coffee. So.
You know, at 7:18, coffee would pretty much do the same thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's. So Reed stepped away for a second. Okay, I was gonna get into whatever housekeeping you have, but we'll wait for Reed to come back. So.
Yeah. Can't beat them, join them.
Ah, there it is. All right, so
he's not going to share, so I had to go get my own.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I would, but you know, it's out of my hands. All right, so a couple of quick housekeeping items. First and foremost, the December show, our winter show, is on at RPAC. So we'll have drop off. Will be at the end of November. Probably the last day, like usual, will be like November 30th, depending on what that day actually is. I haven't looked it up yet. We'll have you drop off this year. So unlike last year where we got put down in that hallway where no one could see it, this year we do have all of the walls again. So we're going to be filling all of RPAC with our winter show. The theme for the winter show is black and white photos, or just black and white. We're still trying to decide if we're going to try and uniform size mats and frames and all of that, or if we're just going to let it go like we usually do. So stay tuned. I'll have some information on that. What that is about is last year when we were planning this, Matt Wyatt, who is the curator at the Museum of Fine Arts here in Rochester, who is sort of, that's their gallery there that they're lending to us. He had the idea of, if every photo, especially a black and white show, were in a black frame with a white mat and exactly the same size, it would create a nice sort of aesthetic around the building. And I said, that's a great idea. I don't know, me personally, I reuse frames and mats, so I don't know if I want to spend all the extra money. Some people, they like to get metals, they like to get canvases, they like to do all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to go and talk to Chris over at Riverstones and find out what kind of a bulk deal we could get if we were to go that route. And that way you would just buy mats and frames from the club at cost, and hopefully at a bulk rate, so it'd be even less expensive than what you would get at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever. So I'll keep you posted on that. But the show is definitely on. So you have, what, September, October, it's about 2 months to prepare, get something ready. It doesn't have to be taken in the next 2 months. You can go through your catalog and pick whatever you want. It just has to be black and white. That's all, just a nice black and white show. So, and with that in mind, Dennis has agreed to come back and do another presentation for us about how to shoot black and white and how to process black and white. So that's our next monthly meeting. It's October 25th, which is a Sunday afternoon, like a normal speaker meeting. And Dennis is going to, I guess if, Dennis, you want to touch about, since you're here anyways, like what the program would be about?
So, well, first question, is it going to, how long is it?
I mean, these are usually about 2 hours, but if you need more than that or whatever, that's fine.
So I have a presentation on the art of black and white, and I'll talk about multiple ways, well, why you would do black and white, why you want to do black and white, and I will go through multiple ways to process black and whites, because I have a couple of series that are black and whites of daylight shots, and I have black and whites of nighttime shots. And what's nice about a Zoom meeting, unlike when you're doing a live presentation, I can bring up both Lightroom and Photoshop, and we may not have enough time to go through some, but I can bring up some examples with the layers showing you the approach and what you need to do to get to that particular look. So we'll walk through those from the very basic of just using a gradient map over a colored photo all the way up to some pretty interesting dodging and burning in some of the blacks and whites. So I'll try to cover a gamut here, and if somebody's got any particular requests, they should get those over to you or myself, but I sort of have a presentation that I'm going to go over.
Yeah, that's fine. And like I said, I mean, the 2 hour thing really had to do more with the location that we had. Sort of, they would need to sort of take back their space after a while. So where we're on Zoom, if it goes longer than 2 hours, if you need more, if it warrants to go longer, that's fine. I don't see any reason why not. So
okay, because the extra time is usually dictated by the Q&A.
Right, so, and yeah, definitely want that. So
yeah.
Good. Dennis, are you going to work pretty much in Lightroom and Photoshop, or are you going to bounce off into Nik filters? Or is there anything else we need to get before the presentation?
So I would say, yes, Lightroom, Photoshop, and the Nik filters, right? Silver FX Pro, for the longest time, was sort of your, it was leading the entire market on a filter to get it into black and white. And so I still use Silver FX, and I will sometimes go into Silver FX, get the black and white, and then still work on it after that with more dodging and burning, right? The black and whites are all going to be something where you're going to emphasize the tones, right? That's where you're really going to get your pop in some of those. So yes, that's a great question. Reed, I would, if you were able to get the Silver FX, that would be helpful. But I think those are probably the three things, and everything else, Lightroom and you know, there's some very interesting things we can do with radial filters in Lightroom. And then obviously with some of the selection tools in not localized blending in Photoshop, we can do some great stuff too. But the Nick filters would help.
Sean, what's the date on that one?
That's October 25th.
Thank you.
So October 25th at 1 o'clock it'll start, and I'll probably be on by like 12:30 or so, like usual. I'll try and get on a bit early. So that's going to be going on. The November challenge, keeping with the theme, is black and white. So we'll let you know that now. You have between now and November to conceptualize and shoot a November challenge of black and white. Wait till after Dennis's program if you want, or start thinking about it now, whatever works for you. So that's that. For once, I actually have notes. Hang on a second, I'll look and see if I'm missing anything. Oh, and just to let you guys know that as far as January's meeting, so after the December show in January and any return to RPAC, all of that is still up in the air. It seemed that RPAC was probably willing to allow us back in, but when I put a survey out to the membership, and it came back pretty solidly that nobody would go. So, which is, it is what it is. I don't blame anybody who chooses that. RPAC has basically what we've decided, since we prepaid for the whole year for RPAC, we're going to make a donation to them. Membership is plenty high enough right now, so we're going to go ahead and allow them to keep that money, and the donation in turn is going to be in advertising. So we're going to get something in return for that. But instead of asking for a refund from an organization that's probably really hurting for money right now, as the leadership group, we talked about it and decided to see if we couldn't barter maybe some advertising or something instead of asking for a refund. So that's what we're going to do with them. They're a great partner, and we'd hate to lose them. And by losing them, I mean, I'd hate to see them go out of business. Not that $400 is going to get us very far, but whatever we can do. I know that we have some things sort of bouncing around about hopefully another outing shortly. Jared's working on something. I don't know if he has anything for information.
So right now I'm just finalizing. Plan would be to go out either the first weekend of October. That's my goal weekend, but go down to Adams Point over in Durham. We should start to see some migratory birds going down that way with some of the fall changes in colors. We may have some pretty good images down there. So Adams Point's a nice big open area right down in Durham. About, I don't know, I think like 3 or 4 miles from UNH. But you can get out there a little bit, see some wildlife, see some of the coastline. It's pretty neat because it's rugged. So you might see a bunch of different aspects for what you could do with the water. So I'm hoping to get that all finalized and out to you guys this week. So that way we can all plan accordingly and then get everyone. So if there's any questions in advance, we can answer those too.
That's excellent. So we're thinking October 3rd or
4th? October 3rd is the day. I do have the 4th. That's why I'm trying to make sure it's either that weekend or it'll be the following weekend.
Okay, so the 3rd or 4th or the 10th or 11th, essentially. All right, that's excellent. So yeah, we're trying to put together some stuff for you guys, and I mean, we got through the summer, but now that we're back into what would be our normal meeting schedules, trying to find some ways to get you guys out and keep you engaged and keep the club sort of rolling. So we did the dragway over the weekend. If you missed it, and most everybody did, we'll be doing. I'm going to try and do one of those every year because it seems like there's at least a lot of interest in it, and it's a lot of fun. It's loud and it's smoky and stinky and some great dynamic photography that and techniques you probably don't use very often, which is part of the reason to get you out. So when that comes back around next year, if you missed this year, you'll be first in line if you want to do it. So I think that's all I have for. I mean, that pretty much covers the rest of the year. If you guys have any recommendations or requests for next year as far as topics, speaker, subject matter that you'd want to see, get it over to us, either directly to me or Tanya or anybody else on the leadership group. And we'll, especially speaker stuff, get in touch with me about who you would want to see or any subjects you want to see, and I'll hunt somebody down and we'll get that stuff done. Especially where Zoom meetings, I mean, I could get somebody from, Zimbabwe, I guess, if I really wanted to. I mean, you know, we had someone from France and someone from the UK over the summer. They did great. They did great little presentations. So, but I guess that's it for. We do have one new member. Her name is Bonnie Ray. She's not on the call today, but if you get a chance, there is like a welcome post on the members only page on Facebook. So if you get a chance, just pop in a comment. Welcome, Bonnie. You know, it's nice to do. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. So who wants to get into talking about some photographs? Because we have 13 to go over tonight, so it's not a big workload. And the original sorting of this I had, and I decided to change the sorting because I didn't want Christine to go first. The original way that it's sorted out is Christine's image first, and I was like, you know what, let's move her towards the end. So Monique, these are out of order from what you have.
I was just asking you that, but then I realized I was on mute, and then you answered the question anyway. So that's fine.
So they're all titled just the maker, so it just has people's names. So we'll call out whose is whose, and you can just kind of go from there. So here, I'm going to share my screen, and we'll get Lightroom up here. And all right, can everybody see that?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So these are our 13 images. I'm just going to start here. I'll go full screen. All right. So this is Pat Corlin's. It's a pretty interesting use of light and shadows with the shadow of her cat right here. Probably sitting in the window. Almost looks like she's sitting right on the bookshelf. What does everybody think?
You don't have a lot of time. It's like one of those things where you see it, you don't have a lot of time to like worry about your settings. Like you've got to be precise. You know,
yeah, she pulled it off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you got a really lazy cat that doesn't want to move.
That's true.
I will give, Pat does photograph her cat a lot. So I think she always has a camera handy. If you follow her on Facebook, she's always posting photos of her cat. So, but
I don't know if you
she's a
heard
good
that
photographer
second
who has a camera handy at all times, unlike me.
I love the geometry and the shapes in this. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, and it almost takes a second to realize what you're looking at, right? Like, what is this? It's just, oh, there's a cat in the shadows. That's cool. You know?
It's a big wine bottle.
Great choice of using black and white on that too.
Yeah, very much.
Yes. And well done too, because it's like the zones are all there, it looks like.
It's soft too. It doesn't look aggressive at all.
Right. Yeah, very nice. I mean, we expect nothing less from Pat, so, but.
Thanks, guys. I stuck my head in real quick. I've got 2 Zooms going on 2 different computers.
No idea that Pat was on here.
I know, that's why I didn't say anything. You were making me
what?
laugh. I literally have my laptop on across the room, and I'm running back and forth from my iPad to my laptop, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, it's a double Zoom night.
Well, yours just happened.
Never
to be
happened
yours, just
before.
the way that it's sorted out wasn't on purpose, but I'm glad you got a chance to see it.
Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate all the comments. Very supportive, and it was just morning light that was kind of magic. I walked into the living room and I was talking to the cat, and then I did what you should always do when you're looking for photos: turn around. And I went, oh. So fun. Kind of an accident. I wasn't trying. So
Pat, how was this being with black and white being the big topic of the rest of the year? How did you process this?
Silver effects.
Okay. This
Yeah. And it is. It was
fine art processing.
I'm not sure if off the top of my head, if I used fine art or I tend to think it wasn't fine art because it softens things up really a lot.
It does. Yeah.
But I honestly cannot tell you which one I use.
Right.
It's not far off. It's one of the ones that are right around it. But I tried not to use the harsher ones. So sort of like something in the middle. But it was birthed in a cell phone, so there's a lot of luck involved here.
Oh, this is a cell phone photo. Okay, even better.
Yeah, most of the luck occurred because it was, the sun is now lower in the sky. It's changing, so it was a little gentler, and it was, pretty early in the morning. Well, not real early, but it was still early in the morning, so the light was coming in directionally. So there wasn't too much contrast, but it had to be done in black and white. Because there was, there's a cacophony of color in the books and the flowers and so it worked out better in black and white, and I loved it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I agree. The black and white did a great job. I think if it was in color, you'd miss the cat. And I think it's subtle.
Yeah.
Very nicely done, because I think the colors would have brought your eye away from the cat. And once you see the cat, you're stuck there, and it's really nice. And the tones around it, and like they always say, it's about the light and it's about the moment, and you knocked it out of the park on this one.
Thanks, Dennis. Yeah, I mean, it is just too busy with this. There's so many objects in the photograph, the color, and it literally the word cacophony came to mind. So thank you. I'm glad I did it in black and white now.
Yeah, this way it really makes you want to adventure your way through the photo and look deeper into it,
I was reading the titles to see if there's anything like that would have caught my eye. I didn't know if there was anything on there, so because I probably wouldn't notice if it was in color.
It's a typical COVID-19 shot, home.
Oh, I see a PPA loan collection book. You have something in there?
I do.
Figured you must.
I do. I have my first. I'm so excited.
So anybody who doesn't know, the loan collection is pretty much the highest honor that the PPA, maybe not the highest honor, but one of the highest honors that the Professional Photographers of America gives out. Is they put this book out every year, and if you have something in it, you should be very proud of yourself.
Yeah.
It is, from what I'm told, there's nothing like your first, So I'm really excited about it. It's one of my favorite shots, so.
So, well, very well done. Anybody else have anything to add to Pat's?
I like it.
I'm glad.
It's just simple.
It's kind of fun,
All
So
right.
cool. Thank you, guys.
Well done, Pat. We're gonna move on here.
Yeah, nice.
Oops. Not too far. Hold on a second. Back up. All right.
Oh.
There we go. Stop pushing buttons. All right. So this one is Jared Plants. Beautiful backlit. I love the shadows creating the lines into the image. I almost wonder if the houses aren't necessary. But
yeah, wow.
Well done and beautiful tones.
So I went up to Old Orchard Beach for a sunrise, and it had to be a clear day because I really wanted to exaggerate the shadows in the pier. And it took a while just to get an image where there weren't any people below it, because there must have been 1,000 people up here on Labor Day weekend when I went up.
Yeah. I almost wonder if, so did you bring up the shadows quite a lot on the houses and stuff?
So I use radial filters to exaggerate the light from each one of the sun rays, and then I use the exact opposite to darken a little bit on the shadows all the way through.
I was just thinking of maybe making it more of a silhouette and moving maybe some of the detail in the house, not all of it, of course, but just a little bit of it, so that your eye really sticks with the shadow lines.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like darken up the actual?
Yeah, like darken up the houses and stuff, make it more of a silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I really do like the fact that the light comes down through and it casts the shadows, but yet the shadows bring you back up in through the photo. But like you were saying, like not so much definition in the pier or the gray building, all the buildings, just a little more silhouetted, I think that would look nice, because that sun draws you through and then the shadows pull you back up in.
Right.
With leading lines and everything towards the pier.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I do like that there is details along the building here, because obviously your eye goes dead center, right? Your eye's always going to go from lightest to darkest, and that's where you start off. What f-stop did you shoot this at, Jared?
That one I believe was f20.
F what?
Let me double check it real quick. I think it was, I have it up right now.
Are you typically like at F8 or?
This was at F20 because I really wanted to get the starburst and I wanted to get a lot of detail throughout the image too.
Did you pull your highlights down a little? Because right, I was going to say if you're at F22, whether you were on a tripod or handheld, a lot of times if you will move and you get the sun on an object, is when it's going to burst. The starburst will come up better with you in F16 through 22. And I'm trying to see if there's a starburst in it, but if you pulled the highlights down, the starburst would show up more.
Right, so this is actually a little bit later. So the reason why is you don't see the starburst is because it's up higher below, it's like right below the pier, so you're getting it down in the actual water down below. That's where I saw it.
Okay.
A couple beforehand with it in between the pier, and I kept trying to break it up so I could get in different locations, and it just didn't look too.
But myself personally, I like that you pulled out of the shadows and at least you can see some detail in the buildings up above to see what's going on. And the only thing I probably would have done just as a slight finishing touch was go down to post-crop vignette and just kind of ever so lightly darkening the four edges, especially your top two. Just to keep the eye and the viewer contained.
It looks like it's there. It just, if you look in the corners, there is some vignetting. It probably needs to be a little bit stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, very light vignette. I knew I didn't put it too intense because I didn't want to make it too noticeable. Up
No, people shouldn't notice when you put one on.
Yeah.
Very nice, though.
Sorry about that. I wanted to turn up my volume and I couldn't do that while I was in full frame mode. So. All right. Does anybody have anything else for Jared? I think it's I mean, even with the critique, I think it's a winner of an image. So it's beautiful.
Great image. I've shot there a whole bunch of times. I've seen countless people shoot that place, and some people nail it. Most people don't. You did a pretty good job with the shadows, especially considering if this was shot specifically for this meeting.
Thank you.
All right.
That's one place I haven't shot yet.
It's it's more vast than it looks in images.
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Off season is here. I mean, that could be a great sort of, especially over the winter time when we're all dying to get out.
So
yeah.
Wintertime is a really great time to shoot there. I shot there 2 years ago, and it was like -9 degrees. Not anything I'd suggest anyone to go out and shooting in.
Obviously, you get sea smoke, right?
Well, that's what I went out for. I didn't see sea smoke, but what I did get was completely frozen sand, and the waves and the ripples in the sand was like just ice. There was balls of ice on the beach that were like this big all over the place. It was so cool.
Nice.
I could see taking a trip up to Old Orchard in January or February this year as a group. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
It would be, yeah. And you're right. There's nobody out there. That'd be the time to do it.
So,
yeah, we went up in the wintertime. We went up in the wintertime. There was snow on the ground, and we went into the amusement park. There were some people working maintenance way in the back, but nobody saw us. And the whole amusement park in snow, we got some great shots from that also.
Yep.
Nice.
Right before you mentioned that, I was going to say one of my favorite parts is when you're shooting the sunrise from there, you turn around and the light is lighting up that whole amusement park area. And it looks like very, very eerie in the wintertime when it's all, broken down and everything like that. It's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to put that together or keep that in mind for this winter. I would love to go up and do that.
It's a drive, but it's worth it for sure.
Oh, anything that's a drive is usually worth it.
As long as weather cooperates.
Bad weather makes good photos.
Every time. But that's what I'm talking about. You could drive all the way out there and get a completely clear sky too.
Yeah, I think Don Toothaker said that in his presentation. Bad weather makes good photos.
That's absolutely right. If it's getting all stormy out, I'm getting ready to go out.
There you go. All right. So nice job, Jared. All right. Next up, I'm going to push a button once. All right. Tom Sorensen, who took the shadows and light and killed it.
Yes.
In a good way, in a really, really good way. Tom, this is fantastic.
Unbelievable. Amazing leading lines.
I know where you took that.
And the choice of using black and white here to just like, yeah.
It accentuates it. Very
Where is
much.
that?
I think it was funny on this challenge is like, as soon as I read the challenges, like this image came into my mind because Laura just started playing the violin again. So I was like, oh, oh, I know where to take her.
If you don't mind me asking, where was this taken?
This is in Milton. It's right off of Route 125 and Route 75 from Farmington.
Yeah, this with the train trestle goes over that, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, we did a fire slinging thing in that with all the
That's what that was.
and everything. That was done inside of this tunnel.
Yeah, you and Gordon went out there, right?
Yeah, and Tom's the one that found it for us.
Nice. That's a good spot.
Great shot.
I live 5 minutes from there and I've never seen it, so I'll try it sometime.
I love the highlights on the left side of the image and how the starburst is like almost, it's blown out. It's so bright. So it's so good.
I know, I'm trying to like think of like what critique can I give. I mean, the only thing I can think of is I wonder if cropping in from the right a little bit to lose some of this.
Yeah.
Like, you have so like, you know, just this little bright spot here to sort of lose some of that, just to even bring the eye even closer into where you want people to look. Oh, let's take a look.
You could even just drop a grad filter in there too and lower all the shadows on that side.
Yeah, but you can use like you can do something like this and put her more in the thirds and get her off the center of the image.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually got a couple of those. I got like 150
yeah.
shots that day.
Yeah, that
Oh,
creates
I
a
like
different
that.
sense of
Yeah,
depth.
that's really nice.
Yeah, 'cause it's all leading from left to right the whole way.
Well, you sort of lose that sort of what they call Dennis, what am I thinking of? Light trap, is that what they call it? Where like it just like drags your eye away from what you want it to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like, I mean, and maybe it's just me, but I felt like that spot that was over there, like this area over here, ended up creating almost like a light trap. It sort of takes your eye sort of out of the image. You also have to go back.
Yeah. No, I see that now that you've shown that.
But you can darken it down if you want to leave her in the center. Just darken this down instead of cropping it.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I only came up with that because I was trying to find something to critique and I was having a hard time because I think it's fantastic.
Right. I like it both ways, just the same though, for different reasons.
Yeah. So
That gives it like the tunnel vision effect of it, you know? Great job, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah, that
No,
starburst and the light is just, it's so beautiful. It's just so, it's so interesting to look at.
Did you have your f-stop way up for that?
Well, you got Laura to stand still for a full second.
Well, actually, I'm like, just play. Just play.
Longer.
Just please play. But like she sat there tuning and tuning and tuning. And because of the humidity and the coldness,
Right.
I couldn't get the violin tuned right. So it was like, okay, I just gotta try to grab what I can.
Yeah, I was just looking at your settings here and I was wondering if like how wide it was and
Yeah.
so 28 millimeters, f9, a full second exposure, ISO
I wish
500.
My ISO was lower.
Wow, you did that at f9 and got a starburst like that? That's impressive.
That was I was just thinking that same thing, but
Wow.
I think, honestly, for a shot like this, especially when you put it into black and white, a higher ISO is not so bad because a little bit of noise doesn't hurt in black and white.
Yeah, it's grainy's not so bad for that.
Yeah, it feels more filmy with a little bit of grain and noise in it. So
Yeah.
And adds to sort of just the graininess of the, you know, there's sort of a grungy graininess to the image. I think it's great. So, all right. Anybody have anything left for Tom?
I would say that for an image, that tells a great story. And that's what photography is all about.
Thanks, man.
So, all right. All right, we'll go to the next one. All right, so that one's mine. And this is, so I put on the bottom the way that I built up the panoramic. So all of those images on the bottom created what you see on top.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this was, so I was down at Lime Rock. This is Lime Rock Park. It's the racetrack I work at. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was down there Labor Day weekend, and I showed up for work, and this was the scene from the media center. It looks over the whole park like this, and that fog is pretty well known at Lime Rock. There's a river nearby that tends to fog over when it gets kind of cool out. And I tried to get it at 24 millimeters. I kept trying, and I just went, all right, I'm gonna go vertical and create a panoramic. And then when in processing, I really just wanted to accentuate the brightness of the sun and the fog and all the dark shadows that sort of come with the early morning like that.
The dynamic range in this is awesome. Your histogram must have been whoop.
Yeah, well, that's from the processing. That's on purpose.
I was gonna say I really love the weight of it. You know,
Yeah.
you have a nice balance of lights, and then you have a nice balance of darks on opposing sides. You know, it's just like it's almost like a yin yang. It's almost
Right. Yeah.
So, Sean, as I look at this, I can see, you know, obviously the panorama, but I can also pick out 1, 2, 3 other compositions where if you like zoomed in, you know, it would, you know, and use that fog, it would just be insane.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So this was taken for the racetrack, and I was really trying to capture like the whole scene for them.
Right.
Yeah.
And the fog, within 5 minutes, this fog was gone.
No kidding.
All of it. It was already breaking up. And it was already lifting.
Jacob's over there like, I see this little tree I would photograph, and that little tree I'd photograph, and
Yeah, I'm like,
oh my God, all the lines in the grass back there with the fence, I'd photograph that too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. There's
But
a lot of little scenes in
The
there.
important part to the racetrack is this building with the sort of pointy roof right there, about on the right third.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's called the pagoda. That's race control. And so getting that in the image and being like really a dominant part of the image was important. So
I was gonna say it's definitely dominating the image.
Yeah.
like my eye keeps going to, like, you see the light post like almost in the center of the image there.
Yeah.
If you look to the left and you see that tree that's kind of like leaned over a little bit,
Yeah.
if you focus in on that and maybe a little bit more to the right, and you get those sun streaks coming down, yeah, that area right there.
Yes.
If you zoomed in all the way and just had that little bit right there, that's what I would have gone for.
God, look at the lines in the grass back there. That's so beautiful.
And then you got the fence there. I just noticed something else. There's a fence.
Yeah.
oh, there's everything. There's guardrails, a fence, a racetrack, the pit lane. There's some
You can
golf
tell all
carts
the
down here.
You can tell all the landscape photographers just went, oh my God.
Yeah.
Catching these specular highlights here.
Yeah. I mean, even the pagoda, like now I'm noticing something else. My Lord.
Oh, wow.
Even the pagoda and the tree line and then the fog above that.
How about the one single solitary guy standing in the middle of the parking lot right next to the stop sign?
Right here.
Right
Right
there.
there.
Just one guy. There's another guy walking out to him, but that's like the only guy you can see out there.
Yeah, this was about probably 6:45 in the morning before a very long day. So
That fog, I'm jealous that I wasn't there to see it because I love a good fog, and sometimes it's just like it's hard to pick or predict where it's going to be. Like you couldn't have asked for a better setting for that. Just all right in the middle of the image where you want it to be. Love it.
Yep. You don't even want to look at the sun. Everything else is so intriguing. You know?
I just keep looking at the fog. That's all. I keep looking for different little wrinkles in the fog that like attract my eye.
I like the layers in it too. I love how fog does that. It really separates everything.
yeah, I was driving to the track and like literally just hit this fog bank as I was getting there, and was just like praying to God that when I got to the media center, it would still be there.
Yeah, good work, man. This is great.
Yeah. Nice shot.
All right. Anything else from me? I appreciate all the critique. I appreciate all the feedback.
I also like the wide crop of it too.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-to-1 crop.
Yeah. That's where you want to be.
That's
Yeah.
why.
Were you handheld or on a tripod?
No, I mean, this was literally run out of the media center, try and get a shot, and then I realized that I couldn't get it at 24 millimeters, what I wanted. So yeah, it was handheld. Just popped it into vertical mode, found the settings, and just click, 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 click.
That's awesome.
So
Nice job.
Yeah, it's stitched together really well.
well, one tip I'll give, because I do love doing a panoramic, I do them a lot, is more shots the better. The more information you can give Photoshop or Lightroom when it comes to stitching, the more information you can give it so that it can find where things overlap, the better the stitch will be. So there's a reason why there's, I think, 16 images on the bottom there. That's how many I took. I probably could have gotten away with less, but I decided that in that moment, I just wanted to get as much information as possible. So when I brought it into Photoshop, I could get, it would have all the information it needed.
Better to get the shot when you can.
And then it was just a matter of warming up some of the highlights and cooling off some of the dark parts and, accentuating like some of these light streaks in here and stuff and making sure that these shadows were visible up here. But yeah, no, it's one I think I put it on my blog and I think this is a shot I've been waiting my whole life to get.
I love it.
So
yeah, that is beautiful.
Sean, can you take a bad picture at Lime Rock anyway?
Oh, I have tons and tons of bad pictures at Lime Rock. For every good one you see, there's 10 bad ones.
I know, but Lime Rock is such a nice track.
Oh, it's a beautiful place. I mean, it really is like, it's like a park setting that happens to have a racetrack in the middle of it. But like there's no grandstands. These hillsides and these grass, that's where people sit to watch the racing.
Well, I think they chopped down my tree.
They may have. They have since done some renovations, yeah.
Yeah. It's been years since we've been there.
So, but yeah, it's a beautiful place to work. I absolutely love it. Really bummed that the last event was canceled, but it is what it is. So, all right, that's enough about me. Let's move on.
Ooh.
So this is Jacob's. Don't forget. There we go.
It's very fitting for the time of the year.
Yeah.
Trying to decide what my subject is, other than just like the scene on the whole.
Yeah, I just went for, I mean,
my eye goes to is up here.
And if you zoom into like that main leaf, like right in the center, I think that's what I was going for, was just that main leaf right in the center there. And just how the light,
Exit almost.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you did a good job with it, because I always like to look at a picture, and when I first do, I always think to myself, where did my eye go first, right? Where did the creator want me to look, and did I look there? And it's interesting because my eye went to that leaf, even though it's darker. It's because you have it framed with some real good backlight. But that was where, as opposed to going to that gap on the right-hand side or a leaf there that's brightly lit on the right-hand side, I did go dead center when I first looked at this, and then sort of traveled up and to the right. So if that was your main subject, nicely done.
I love the shadow over that leaf with like the actual detail in the leaf above it. It really, I think the lines right there are really interesting to look at. Almost like if you cropped it a little bit more, I think you'd be focusing more on that.
It's hard to control the chaos in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. The evening light at my parents' place, they live just outside of Winchester, New Hampshire, and it's just incredible. Like, they've got some huge trees, they've got a rock wall, a shed, ferns everywhere. And I had my 18 to 35 on. I got like really close to it, and kind of angled it down a little bit so I didn't have the sun directly coming into my lens. But yeah, it's just a great place to be with like some incredible light.
I've been seeing a lot of really good light recently.
What's that?
I've been seeing a lot of really good light recently, especially around the trees.
Yeah.
especially with it being so dry out, sometimes you get some dust in the air too that really starts to create sunbeams. So it exaggerates those a little bit more too.
Right.
Jacob, those ferns, the fern pictures that you've been dropping lately from your parents' house are dynamic. I love those.
Yeah, thank you.
Really green.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things happening up in that top left corner where the leaves are they're all in different lights and they're just overlapping, and there's so much texture going on there. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
I didn't notice that until you just mentioned it. I love that. There's like all these different grays.
I know. I think honestly, my biggest critique is lose the white border.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been on a white border kick lately. Just looking at like a lot of my old images, they just seemed like it needed something. It needed to be cleaned up. It needed to be something. But
No, I get it. I mean, I like to use borders as well. And if you get into any sort of like professional competition at some point, they're actually required. The image is not finished without a presentation. But one thing that you always got to keep in mind that the eye is always going to go to the brightest part. And if the brightest part is the white border, your image is losing some of the dynamism it could have.
I see. Okay.
So find a tone, some gray tone in here. It can be a lighter tone or a darker tone, but find some gray tone in here that works as a border and use that. And that way it sort of blends into the image and it allows you to actually almost create a vignette of its own, or use it to accentuate what you want people to look at.
Gotcha.
I agree, but what I would also add to that is every black and white, my opinion, when I do them, and I used to just leave them the black and white, they definitely need a stroke. And I'm talking just like 20 to 25 pixels. And so to me, it's either going to be a white or a light gray stroke, just to kind of, it needs to frame the black and white. And then if you're going to go with a matte, I agree with Sean, I would have gone with more in the gray tones on
Yeah.
But I would definitely put a white stroke around it, because black and whites need to be bordered / framed with just a small stroke.
Right.
Do you guys know what a stroke is? What a stroke line is?
No.
No. All right, hold on a second here.
Yeah, pull up one of yours, Sean.
Well, I'm gonna show them how to do it.
Oh, okay. Class.
Just open Photoshop. It's easy enough.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just
I'm just want to point out, just looking at how you have it pulled up right now, Sean, how you got your image to the left. I still feel like he nailed it, and he really draws your eye right to the center of that leaf, and like you can see it more now that you got the smaller image because it's lit and around it.
Right.
It really just
I see that
draws you
too.
into that leaf, then you get the detail on that nice little highlighted part, that's just enough to go, huh, what is that? I feel like he nailed it. And
I think he did.
Like Dennis said, I was pulled right to that leaf.
No, I think it's great. I think I was just going to show you what Dennis was talking about with a stroke line and what that actually looks like, and how to do it.
I just noticing that, looking at it, now looking at the highlights around that leaf, making it pop more. It's harder to see a larger image as it is a smaller image.
Right. So do you guys see the race cars now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So all a stroke line is, so all I did here, so there's all my layers that I use to, for editing this. So I'm just going to flatten that down so it's just the photo. If you duplicate the layer and then just double click on that layer, you're going to get this box, the layer style. And here's your stroke right here. Now what a stroke does is it adds a border around the image. And you can use this color selected here to pick something in the image that works as a stroke line. Because what you don't want it to do is you don't want it to take away from the image. You don't want it to drag your eye out. You want it to create a border to kind of let your eye bounce off of it and back into the image. So a lot of times what I'll pick is something near the edge like this, maybe somewhere in this green tone. And I'll pump up this to maybe 5 or 6 pixels. that's probably about it. Now, once you add a border around that, this little green line right here, that's a stroke line. And that's going to bounce your eye back into the image. So if I were to just sort of expand my canvas out a few inches, oops, not 200 inches, that's going to be very big.
Your size is huge real quick.
I'm just going to make a black border around. I probably wouldn't do black, but now if I get this up to where you can see it, come on. You can actually see that green line there now, see? Yeah. And that sort of...
And it's very subtle.
It blends in on the edges, and I might even make it more subtle than this for competition. But it blends in on the edges, but it keeps your eye from bouncing out of the image and sort of finishes framing up, your image so that it looks a little bit more, finished and presented. And so that's what Dennis is talking about, putting a white stroke around a black and white image, and then maybe going with a darker matte, which is the expanded canvas.
Gotcha.
That make sense?
Yep.
Right. Cool. Go back to the Lightroom here. I tell you, this whole Zoom thing, being able to bounce back and forth between Photoshop and Lightroom, I love it, and I hope you guys do. I love being able to show you guys.
Some serious advantages, yeah.
No, it does. It does.
And anybody, if you want more information about that, there's actually videos out there on how to finish an image for competition that has all of that information in it. And I can post that to the members only group if you guys want to know more about that.
Definitely.
But when you get into doing actual competition, whether even for camera clubs that do competition, or if you decide to get into some like PPA competitions and stuff, yeah, they have to be finished in order to score properly. So, all right. So back to full screen. Next up, I have this one, which is Lisa shirtless. I like it. I did see this come through the email. My initial thought was the extra sort of leading lines that those shadows make are really nice.
Yeah. Seen that lighthouse photographed 800,000 different times, always from the same exact perspective. This is really cool.
I like it.
I like the other one better, but it was cool.
Shadow matches up with the door.
Oh! Sorry, guys.
When you like follow the shadows in, it almost mimics the door.
I won't eat in front of you. That's not nice.
I love that.
Matt's very excited for pizza, I think.
Yeah.
And who can blame him? Who's not excited about pizza?
I'm a fat kid. Hi, babe. She gone.
I don't know, Lisa. I don't have a lot of critique for this other than it's well done. I like your dynamic range. I mean, I think you could potentially bring these shadows in here down a touch, maybe. If I'm looking for something to critique, it's just these shadows behind the lighthouse on the horizon there. You can bring those down slightly. Maybe even crop it in from the top a little bit. You don't need all of the sky, really.
The clouds, yeah. Okay.
So above the clouds, crop out.
Yeah, that's what I was just holding up, right above that white strip of clouds.
Mm-hmm. Get rid of it.
Yep, it brings your lighthouse up. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yep.
Really pretty. And then it puts you right in your thirds there, bullseye in the middle, across the cross line.
Exactly. You can even bring it in this way slightly and put that.
And then look at that.
Yeah, that's better. Yep.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Because the upper left-hand corner was a little all blue and it had really nothing up there except for the color. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can add a vignette to it just to bring the eye in a little bit more, but yeah, I think honestly a little crop here and just adds a little bit more.
I think your cropping and your compositional position now is very well done. I think, as Jared said, I might put a very slight vignette around this.
Yep.
And then I would take a radial filter and just lighten the lighthouse ever so lightly, just again to draw the viewer's eye, because from a tonal perspective, it's pretty even going across. I would light that up ever so slightly.
There you go.
Oh, where's my invert?
I would, on exposure, just pull your exposure.
There you go.
I had to invert it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that it defaults to outside the circle.
I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
what's
now,
up with that?
That makes no sense. I
It's one of
never.
the dumbest things that Adobe ever did.
It's
Yes. Yeah. There may be a little clarity.
I'm doing this on a trackpad, so excuse me if it's going a little bit more than you would think. Yeah, let's full screen that. So we cropped it, added a little vignette.
Yeah.
A little filter around that to brighten it up a little bit.
nice. Thanks.
Yeah, I
Nice
think it's
shot.
great.
Nice shot, Lisa.
Thank you. I had no idea this lighthouse was there. We were up in the Bath area a couple of weeks ago, and we were doing all the little fingers that stick out.
Yeah.
So we did multiple lighthouses, and it was an absolutely gorgeous day. We've never explored all of that area. So we're going back up to do Chemical Point, and what was the one, Pat?
It was, oh, I can't remember it, in Edgecombe, Maine.
Yeah, I can't either, but yeah, we're going back up there to do some more. So yeah, it was a pretty day up there, and I said I'd never seen this lighthouse.
The shadow really does
There's
it.
another one up there. There's another one up there that's a little bit farther north that was in the Forrest Gump movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I want to go find that one too.
That's Marshall Point Lighthouse.
Is that it? The one that's up, the one that it was in Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nice because it was off tourist season, so there was nobody here.
Yeah, it's easy to find.
Yeah, so we'll have to go back up there and look.
Yeah, I think, as somebody mentioned earlier too, you knocked it out of the park here with the shadows as a visual interest here. You were there at the right time at the right place.
Yeah, I think it was like 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
It's kind of scary how well they line up at the door. It leads you right to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that until you brought it up.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, I don't think I noticed it either, that it went right to the door like that.
Right to the outskirts of the door on both sides. And I look at it, I was like, as soon as I was like, that's really neat how they line up so perfect.
Yeah, right? I can't unsee it now.
Lighthouse is
Yeah.
this?
Excuse me?
What lighthouse is this?
It is Doubling Point Lighthouse. It's right after you cross the bridge in Bath. You take the road right after the bridge.
Oh.
And you go down there, and it's out a dirt road. At the end of a dirt road, there's like little teeny weeny signs that keep saying lighthouse and pointing. There's not a big sign saying it's out there.
Yeah.
And just a parking lot for like probably 4 cars. And there's a house and an outbuilding and then the lighthouse.
Did you put this picture on Lighthouse Lovers?
No.
They might like it. You might want to join that. I think you can just join it. They have pictures of the lighthouses were all over the place.
Huh. I will look into that.
That's if you're a lighthouse lover.
Well, I mean, lighthouses, yeah, they're very cool. So
yeah.
And trying to explore them and find different ones.
All right. Any further comments for Lisa? All right. Great job, Lisa. Move on.
All right, thank you.
All right. So we have the Cog Railway conductor. I know that just because I've been there. This is Ray Grace. I don't know if you guys have ever ridden the Cog or not, but that's a fantastic little day trip. I loved it.
Yeah, that's neat. I like that.
Yeah.
I've never had so much fun at 4 miles an hour. But and this image actually captures it, just sort of the feeling of being up there really well, I think.
Was this going up or I've never been on it, so I don't know if they if you take the card down.
It's going up.
It's going up.
Yeah, that's the water tower to fill the coal when they're going up first thing in the morning.
Nice. I love the positioning of the conductor.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. That's so cool.
It's almost like you want to be like, come on, guy, get out of the way. But it's perfect.
Pump harder, pump harder.
I think if you propped it
like
up,
you don't want to like let him know you're there because you might scare him and then he might fall off.
Again, this is a scenario where black and white really, really makes this image. I feel like it would have gotten lost if it was just in color.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, nicely done.
well, I like it a lot. I just wonder what it would look like if you cropped a little bit of the bottom out where like the handrail is and stuff like that. I don't know if
Right.
because it kind of intersects across the railroad tracks, and to me, it distracts me a little bit.
I don't know. I think it keeps them from falling off.
That was the reason why I left it.
Yeah, I like that
It
better.
kind of tells the story too, though. It puts him into the train car.
Yeah, see, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it sort
I
of
think the
tells
rail
you,
shows movement, that you're in a moving car versus standing on the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
think
something and
Yeah, I like
there's
the
something
bar.
about having his elbow in there too that kind of, I don't know, like, I don't know, maybe it's just me.
I don't know, I think for storytelling purposes, I think it's almost important that it's there.
It anchors the bottom of the photo. It holds it down, you know. It makes it gives you a starting point. It gives you a placement in the photo as well.
Yeah, it makes you feel
Right.
like you're in the car with him.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes you feel like you're the person looking behind him, really.
Right. Well, it does give you a reference that you're on the train, where if you cut that out, he could have been just standing on the ground. So I think it tells a little bit more of a story of him being on the car, the train, with the bottom rail. And great leading line right up to the tank.
Oh yeah, that vanishing point is mwah.
I love it.
And like somebody had said about creating motion in there, that's exactly what this does. You know, I feel like without it being there, it is kind of like, what is going on here, really? This definitely, there's no doubt about what's going on here.
Sean, what about adding maybe just a slight gradient filter up top, just to kind of, give that just a touch.
What are we doing? Darkening that?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it adds a little bit of definition up there.
Yeah.
Take some of those highlights out.
I like it.
That creates a little more depth to it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Makes the track seem longer.
Can you still see the tower on Mount Washington up there?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good. Oh,
Great image.
Nicely done, Ray.
Dennis, has that got all the tones of a black and white? Should there be
Yes.
more tone?
No, because I think if your track is really pretty light up front here, right? So that's really good. And your tank and your background mountain there, and obviously the silhouette, you really wouldn't want much darker. In fact, I would have to think if you brought up the histogram alongside of this, you probably have a pretty good spread on that histogram. Yeah. So see, your blacks are all the way up.
Yeah, you're putting black here, but that's it.
Yeah, and some pure blacks are okay, right? But you don't want to blow out any of your highlights, which is you're right up to the edge there and you're not blown out. So between the tracks and your cloud and your sky, I think those are both done just right.
Yeah.
I'll save it for your instruction.
I love the industrial feel of it too. It's really cool.
Sean, can you zoom into the water tower?
Hold on a second here.
It's a very timeless photo too.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that this was taken recently if you would have just looked at it and come across it, you know?
No, you wouldn't at all.
Dennis, what would your thoughts be on maybe a little bit of dodging and burning, just to kind of bring out a little bit more detail in that water tower?
Absolutely. As I look at this, I would, and if you're going to stay in Lightroom, I would add a couple radial filters to that tower. I would want to bring that out a little bit more. It's too much blended into the background, and it's such an interesting subject matter. That needs to be done. So if you're going to stay in Lightroom, I would add some radial filters to that. If you're going to go up into Photoshop with it, I don't know if you've ever worked with a 50% gray layer, which we'll go over, but then you can light paint on top of this and would bring that out, because it is one of your key. You're going to start in the conductor, the train tracks are going to take you up, and you should stop right there. But it needs a little bit, definitely needs to be brought out from the shadows a little bit more, just locally.
Right.
That's a good idea.
I just did a quick just adjustment brush up there, as opposed to use, because radial filters are great.
You could start because as long as you have your radial filtered feathered out to 100%, you know, you're not going to see anything too sharp on it. But I would pull up on that on the exposure.
So this has it brought up slightly.
Yeah, I might be a little, myself personally, I'd be a little bit more aggressive, because the metal, I don't know what you call them, the metal loops holding the stays together, get a lot of detail with them. So there's some nice information there that I just think the train track is so sharp. I think you need to get your tank there just a little bit.
The Jared had posted I think it was the lighthouses on our website, and they used 2 of the what you were just talking about, Dennis, the
radial filters.
The radial filters. On one side it lightened up, on the other side they darkened it, so you gave the curvature.
Yes.
With using two radial filters.
Exactly. Right. And, you know, if we were in Photoshop, I would pull this up with a tone curve, and then I would put a gradient, splitting it in the middle. There's a center gradient. So you can add the light to the middle and darken towards both edges, which makes an object like that look round like it is. And you do that all with the shading.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But this,
I'm just going to give us a time warning. We're halfway through our critique, and it's 8:21.
Okay.
So just real quick, the other thing that I like about this is you have that really old water tower, and you have this old conductor looking at this really old water tower. So it's almost like, you know, they're connected in some way, like they're like best friends, because I'm sure he's been working on that railroad for many years, and, you know, so he's probably looking at his old friend.
And an old guy took it.
Yeah.
Careful that old stuff, Jacob. We'll get there one day too.
Trust me, I'm starting to feel it.
Well done, Ray. That's a really great image.
Yes, great job.
Thank you.
All right, next up, looks like we have Matt Vijay.
Ooh.
With a very dynamic image. Where is this?
This is actually in somebody's living room, as crazy as that may seem.
Were you watching Tron when you took this?
No, but I was kind of inspired by it. As soon as you hit with lights and darks, I was like, okay, I want to use light to create shadows. So we actually took this in front of my friend's television. That's how we got the background.
Oh.
It was shot completely in the dark. It was shot handheld. I illuminated the front of the subject with a flashlight, actually, and I had a very dim light behind me casting over it too. And
Nice.
That's how that was done. Lining this up was really difficult though, because we actually had to use a mirror too. So this is a backwards image of what is actual reality, if that makes sense. So I'm photographing into a mirror to be able to get the television in the scene.
Right.
Purposefully lifted the darks to give it that kind of new style washed out look.
Yep.
A lot of perspective went into this. If you look at the glasses, the vanishing point of the photo for the screen is in the glasses as well. That was not easy to line up, my God.
I love how cinematic it looks. Like it looks like the scene is going from the glasses and then it's like panning to the right, and you're almost expecting something to come out, you know, at the, you know, you're looking all the way to the right and you have that opening down there. It's like something's going to happen down there.
Yeah, Matt, I think you did a great job on the lighting, right? There's enough light on her chin section here to lead you over there, and then the reflection in her glasses, and there's just ever the right amount of light on her nose just to dictate the silhouette. If that light would have been missing on her nose, I think we would have lost her. But obviously her chin area is going to bring us in, but the nose is just right, and then the reflection on the glasses, I'm sure it took you a while to line that up, but that was very nicely done.
Thank you, thank you. I'm glad that you brought up the shadow lifting in the facial parts of it too. I lifted the highlights quite a bit in the nose area and around the mouth to actually be able to do that. I'm glad you brought that up. And what bothers me the most about this image, it's crazy to me actually, is like the glasses aren't in focus. What's actually in focus here is the strands of hair, the hair that's coming down in front of the nose, which drives me nuts. But I think it kind of works at the same time.
Yeah, because I think the brightness of the light on her chin helps to, right, she's seems like she's a little bit outside of your depth of field where your focus plane was. But the brightness helps in that, because you don't stay there long because you go up to the glasses, right? Because it's intriguing. And then, like I said, there's just enough light on the nose to help define her. So nicely done.
Yeah, this was kind of a bold move for me to drop this image in here, because if some of you know me, which I know some of you do, I'm mostly known for my landscape work, not for my portrait work. And this was a creative edit that I did for a friend. So this was the first time trying something like this, and I saw something, I wanted to replicate it, I had an idea, and there's the execution. I did it for this project.
There you go.
Nice.
It's always good to be pushed out of your element.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically what I did with this. I was like, you know what, this is something I haven't done. I'm going to try it, and worst case scenario, I mess up and we try it again. Whatever.
Yeah. When you do stuff like that, the worst thing that can happen is you fail. And you try again.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. Even more than fail, you learn.
Exactly. Every failure is a learning opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I think thank you for the comments. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Definitely. You have anything else for Matt? All right. So next up then. So we have two that are very similar from, I think, probably the same place. So this one's Deb Boulanger's photo.
I feel really short.
Yep.
Is this a church? Deb? Is Deb on? I thought she was.
No.
I think I maybe would have gone for a longer focal length, maybe like a telephoto lens, and just shot straight ahead and just captured that where that light beam is hitting. Maybe, let me look at it.
Oh, see, I think I would have gone the other way and gone super wide to create more of that, distorted, like really dramatic effect of the, like almost like a vanishing.
It feels restricting, and I feel like it should feel more vast than that.
Yeah, I love the lines in this. It's just incredible. The different directions and angles, and
I love the lines.
Yeah, there's a lot of geometry in there. It makes your brain go, ah.
Yep.
Yeah, I really love the lines. I like the shadows that bring you up to the light leading into the open door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if those shadows don't bring you in, that window will.
Yeah.
Back.
To me, it's like the top line of the lockers on the left, go all the way down, continue with the light beam, then come all the way across the floor on the bottom of the other side.
Carries you through. It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about anybody else, but I want to run down there and shut that door so bad. It's driving me nuts.
But I'm glad that it's open. It's tells a little bit more of a story than if they would have all been closed.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that whole breaking the pattern thing.
Mm-hmm. I'm digging that mural.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the contrast difference of colors, and that's really, really cool how it separates.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go from like a lot of geometry to something very artistic at the top. Almost like a
Yes.
lack of geometry at top.
Well, even the patterns of the leaves outside of the window kind of blend with the wall, even though the color pattern's different.
I didn't even look out the window until you brought it up. Thanks. Now I need another 5 minutes with the photo.
You could almost go with like a portrait style for this one too.
Yeah, you could.
So if
You
you
could,
crop
yeah,
it in from
absolutely.
if you crop it in from the left, and
On the left.
yeah, crop it in from the left, and then leave just a little bit where the window is and where the mural is. If you leave just a little bit, a little more, right there, and then do the same thing with the other side, but not to the point where you're gonna, crop out that door. Keep going. A little more. I'll back off because you want to keep it in line with the other one. Yeah, like right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Either the top section.
Nah.
Now,
I think I
I
like
see what you're trying to do there. I think you lose a little bit of the depth doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a point.
Although I did like when Jacob had told you bringing in the left side to get that top window out of there, just to bring that out of. And don't go past that corner. I think, in fact, I might go back a little bit, trying to keep your main window close to the 1/3. And I think that,
Yeah, that kind of makes your brain go, ugh.
yeah, I like that one a little bit better.
Yeah, it's so awkward. That creates a lot of depth in that image. Wow.
Yeah, that one got deeper.
Well, and now it goes from being symmetric to asymmetric, which is always more interesting.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like you're looking at it sideways almost.
Oh, I like it so much better like this too.
What I noticed is the light beam on the bottom from left to right going down, and then on the top right, there's a beam that's coming down at an angle towards that. And it just, and then there are the beams from the very center top that come straight down.
Yep.
And that's totally different than all the lines in the rest of it.
Yeah.
Until you mentioned it, now I see it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on all over the place in there.
Even the beam from the mural.
Yeah.
That door.
Yeah, that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care for the black and white in this one.
No, it's just one of those things I wanted to see, like, does the contrast work with the black and white?
It would work with just the hallway, but not with the mural on the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very nice.
Yeah. Right. Anything else for Deb? All right.
What is this taking?
I don't know. I thought that she was on the call. I guess she's maybe not anymore.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know exactly where it is. I think it's cool.
It's not on the call either.
No, she's not. So I'll make sure that that's why we record these things. All right. Next up, we have our guest, Christine. Very literal interpretation of light and shadows. I like it.
Very nice.
I love how the shadows dip off right on the line of the chains. Like the chains is like where the line separates for the light. It's perfect.
Yeah, it just goes black. I like it.
Yes.
And I like the long shadows created like down here in the pebbles. The one thing I would say is it appears that it's in focus here.
Yeah.
And not so just be careful about your focus. Make sure that you're focusing on your subject. Unless the ground in front of it is your subject, I don't know, but it looks like this is your sharp area of the image, when I would really kind of want this up here to be sharp. I want to see all the texture in this metal of the chain.
Yeah.
If that one bar or that one portion of the chain was in focus and the rest of it blurred out, this image would be amazing.
Yeah, right here.
It would really grab my attention.
So for this one, it was a lot of sort of personal for me. It's kind of anxiety, depression. You know, the grit in the light was, you know, coming out of the darkness, but there's still grit kind of. The chains was just the anxiety of trying to keep everything together. So that was kind of where I was going with it.
Kind of like it's kind of like the chains are keeping all that anxiety and depression out of the light, so to speak.
Yeah.
I like how the chains kind of like the bokeh aspect of it in the background, how it really, really blurs out quick. But again, yeah, like everybody had mentioned, if the center of that was in focus, I think that really, really would have pulled this all together. But I love the concept.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
Agreed. I think that, I mean, just really watch where you're focusing. Make sure your subject is in focus. Just going forward, maybe try shooting it again and posting it up on the, I don't know if you're a member of our, we have two groups. We have a public group, which is almost 300 people strong, and people post up there all the time. If you join the Camera Club at some point, there's also a private membership group where it's a closed group that you can put stuff up and safely ask for critiques. It's not out there in public. So I don't know, maybe try shooting it again if you have this as a controlled environment, and try making sure that you're focused in on your chain. Because right now it looks to me like the focus is over here in the corner, and it just keeps dragging my eye away from probably what I think your subject matter was meant to be, would be my guess.
Yeah.
But you said that the grit was a big part of it.
It was a big part of it, yes.
It is, and I think that the depth of field is deep enough here that you wouldn't lose all of the detail if this were out of focus, but you would gain all of the detail here, which is where you really need it.
Definitely.
So,
And this is where I mentioned earlier that I think this is a black and white is really well done, but could use a white stroke around it, because on the left-hand side, I can't tell where your picture, is this a 1x1 crop or is this a 2x3 crop? Is the chain on the left side going much farther into dark, or is it cut off right there? Because it's shown on a screen here with a black background, I just can't see where your photo ends.
Right.
And it's two different story. Well, see, now I see this looks more like a 2x3. I couldn't tell if it was a 1x1. If the picture is cut off right at that spot on the chain, to me, I like it that it fades more into the black. So if I saw a stroke around this, I would know where your boundary is.
Yep, definitely.
I like it. And I like
I love how the brightest link is in the background, and it's out of focus. And I love what's in the foreground is the dark, and it seems so like kind of counterintuitive to what you would do for a photo. I just think it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
it is very well done.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody have anything left for Christine? Again, I just want to thank you for being here and thank you for participating. It takes a lot to put your work out there, so we appreciate it.
Thank you, Christine. You're so brave.
Thanks, Asina.
I said good move on the black and white choice too.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, this doesn't work if it's not black and white.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So,
There was actually no editing in this. This is just the raw image.
Really?
And yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Shot it in night mode with a flashlight and had a lot of help from Asina. So.
Oh, that's cool. You did this artificial anyway. It's nice. I love playing with flashlights. You can do so much stuff.
all right. So next up, we're going to go right to Christine's friend Asina. And we're going to take a look at this. Looks like a sunflower. Or sunflower. Some sort of flower.
glowing. it's beautiful. It just really looks like it's glowing.
Now, is this an infrared or is this processed this way?
It's neither. I didn't edit one bit, and all it is a sunflower, and it was taken in the dark with a flashlight. That's the only thing that I did with it.
Excellent.
So you shot it black and white then?
I shot it black and white.
Cool.
Did you use a tripod or handheld?
Handheld.
I like the way it fills the whole frame too. It's nice. And leaves just a little on the side open for the darkness. It's cool.
I like the angle.
Yeah.
I like the angle she used on it, and not straight on, but a little bit offset, so that way you can see like the length in the petals.
I like the noise here, and that's not me being facetious. I do. I like the noise that's happening in here. I know noise is like a dirty word in our what we do, but I find that there's a place for it, and I do like I like the way it falls off into this sort of like noisy, sort of almost grunginess, and I like that quite a lot.
Seems like noise is like a dirty word, like no matter what kind of photography you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like when I'm shooting, I do bird photography that, like you guys know, and people ask, well, how are you getting such sharp pictures? I'm like, well, I'm jacking my ISO up to 1,000 or 1250, and then I'm able to get a high shutter speed. And they're like,
what?
But what about all the noise? I'm like, it's very minimal, and they're kind of taken back by that.
Yep.
Oh, I have the same reaction when I'm out shooting cars and I need to be at like a 1/1250 or faster sometimes.
Right.
The only way to get there is to crank up your ISO a bit. So,
And then it depends what you're shooting on, right? With the Sonys I shoot on, I can push my ISO up to 6400 with no noise. So I let my ISO float between 100 and 6400, and I don't get the noise, but I get the speed. I get my shutter speed to where I need to. So,
yeah.
And then today in both Lightroom and some of the Nik tools, removing noise is a pretty easy game.
Oh yeah,
right?
define is.
Yeah.
Define is I know everybody talks about silver effects, but to me the most valuable part of Nik is define.
Yeah, it does a great job. But I really like this shot compositionally too.
Exactly.
You got the right way,
back
right?
to a seamless photo.
you got more of the breathing space on the left-hand side. It's just like a person, right? It's looking, the flower, if it was looking, is looking in the right direction, the way that you have it compositionally. So that's nice, because scented, it would have been all right, but I think you're kind of highlighting it with the bright leaves up top, but they're short, and you're kind of bringing us down along those leaves on the left-hand side. And I like that there's more space there than on the right-hand side, because if you would have moved it closer to the left side, then that pictures like that make people very anxious, right? Because it feels too confined. So good job on the composition too.
Thank you.
Very nice. Looking at it more, I was just about to move on, but I do really like just the specular highlights in here and how you were able to capture that.
The texture of it's cool too.
Yeah, it just you grab the texture and the specular highlights really, so it makes it so that this bright spot up here isn't so like eye grabbing, because you have these highlights in here that are also grabbing your eye and sort of competing a bit, and it works. So,
yeah, I was so happy with how that turned out, because like you said earlier, there's 10 that didn't work out. So this was,
of course,
one out of 100 photos that I took of this freaking flower, and it's like just moving the light just a little bit, and just eventually just finding just that right angle, and it just seemed to hit things right. And I wasn't too sure if it was too drastic, like too white and too dark. Like, is it too dramatic, or should I have been more subtle with it? Or I kind of questioned a lot of it, but I just thought it was so striking with the white, like the whites and the darks right next to each other. And I thought it kind of flowed pretty easily. So I'm not sure what your thoughts on that are.
I think, I
Go
was
ahead.
going to say, when it comes to drama in your own photos, that's up to you to decide.
Yeah,
I
I was
think
going to
that's
say
a very subjective thing, and I think that if you're happy with it in the end, then it has the right amount of drama.
I was going to say it's usually the artist's choice.
Well, that's what I decided then.
Good decision.
Thank you.
Okay, all right, Dennis and I agree. Yes. All right.
Need to say for like the extreme
I
dark
was,
lights in
I was
this.
ready to be like smacked down a little bit there. Yeah.
So if I were to go in Lightroom, if this was my image, you know, I'm talking about, you know, it's the artist, you know, who, you know, decides what to do with it. I've actually been playing around a lot with the curves in Lightroom, and, you know, either bringing up the highlights, dropping the shadows down, but also if you put a pin on the far left side of the darks, you can actually kind of, I don't know what they call it, like mute out the blacks or whatever, or make them, or wash them out or whatever. That's what I would have done, just to kind of give it that, you know, I don't know what you would call it, that film cinematic look. And
Oh, you mean like to crush the blacks a bit?
yeah.
You can do that. I don't always love the way that goes, but we can kind of show what that means. So here on the tone curve.
Yeah. So if you bring down the darks just a little bit, and actually, well, no, because if you can put a point on the outside of the curves, the tone curve there on that one.
And I don't use, the thing is, when I'm working in curves, I'm always in Photoshop. I don't even know how this works.
It's, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain.
I can show you how to crush them all day long, and I have no idea how to do it here. I mean, you can do it up here because you can sort of just crush your blacks by bringing them up a touch and really stretch out those dark parts.
The tone curve, you get a lot more depth.
Correct. Yeah, it's a lot more specific and precise with the tone curve.
Right.
Maybe you can bring down the highlights a little bit too, just to sort of like just add a little contrast and depth to it. And it's just going to pop out some of those details in the petals a little. I mean, Asina said it wasn't processed at all, so I'm not sure.
Asina, just a quick question for you. Were you holding the flashlight on it and shooting with a normal shutter speed, or were you going with an extended shutter speed, keeping your shutter open and then bringing the flashlight across?
I had a stationary flashlight, and it was a pretty quick shutter speed.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you get a chance to redo this, I think what Dennis was getting at was if you had your camera on a tripod and you set it up that way and light painted the flower, I think you might have gotten some really, really, really cool effects out of this. Might want to try that sometime.
Yeah, you'll find some really cool stuff. And I would take multiple shots. Do you use Photoshop?
Nope.
Okay, because then there's a way to bring the different shots into Photoshop as layers, and you just put them into lighten mode. And all it does is it takes the lighter section from the layer above and adds it to the one below. And so as you light paint in different sections of the flower, you can really get creative and control your light to a T. Different subject.
Yeah.
Light painting is fun. I love playing around with that stuff.
Yeah,
we should do a meeting on that sometime. That would be cool.
Yeah, let's do that.
There's so many different ways of light painting, whether it's lighting a building, whether it's lighting a subject like I did with television. You know, there's so many different ways of using light.
I mean, I do it with cars all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Long exposure, stuff like that. I love long exposure light painting stuff.
So, all right. Anything? I mean, Asina, this is fantastic. Love
Thank
it.
you.
Anything else for Asina?
No, that was a great image. Beautiful.
Nicely done.
As we come up on 10 minutes to 9. So next one up is Pat Watts.
Yeah. Plain and simple, nothing to it. I walked around different angles, but it just caught my eye, and that was that.
Yeah, no, I love this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if, for from a different angle, you could really just do the shadows.
I
And
tried different ones. I just didn't like them. I liked it
Really?
with the chair in there because it just gave another element.
yeah,
But I did try at different angles.
The more you look at it, the more you kind of want to try to figure out what it is, even
And
though
I
you
think-
know what it is.
Yeah, I think if you took the chair out, then you probably wouldn't be able to tell what it is.
Right.
So I think the chair adds quite a bit.
so the chair adds a lot of context. Whereas if you were going for more of just an abstract graphic image, doing just the shadows, especially with all the cross lines,
Yeah,
it could work both ways, as all I was saying.
right.
I think as a graphic image where it was something's abstract, especially when you look at the way, and it must be just the way that the chair, like in here, in here, I think it's the way the chair probably is curved,
Yeah.
the way the
Yep,
light went
it
through
was
it, you
curved.
get this like really cool effect.
Or
You
Are
could
there
make a
two
really
different
cool
light
graphic image out of that.
are there two
No.
different light sources there, or is it all just coming from the sun?
It's just the sun.
Yeah, it's the way that the chair is shaped. It's
Yeah.
there's a curve probably in the back of the chair somehow, and
Yeah,
the light
so-
goes through that section a little bit differently.
Where the chair is vertical, because this is where the bottom section is where you sit, right? And it goes up, and because it does that, changes it, making them like the ovals more narrow, so the blacks are really close to each other. So it gives it depth. That actual.
Well, and then the top must bend back away again.
Yeah, it must bend back again like
So
that.
that one little section here, the light is going through it a little bit differently,
Yeah.
creating this dark spot. And it adds just another graphic element to it, like almost like this cross hatch sort of effect. It's really cool.
No, I like it. Is it weird that I feel like when when you sit in one of these chairs for too long and you stand up and you get all those marks on like the bottom of your thighs or something? Right now, as I'm looking at this, like, no.
Or if
Sunburn with the
yeah,
the
if it's been
mark.
sitting out in the sun for too long and you sit down and eat in shorts and you burn the back of your thighs.
Oh, yeah. Cheeseburger. Ah.
You get the grill marks on the back of your thighs.
Yeah, that's what I went for. Cheeseburger.
I think it's a very cool sort of abstract look at the idea of even just light and shadows and just taking it very literally and doing something very cool with it. I like it.
I love the complete different aspects that people took for this project. This is really cool.
Yeah, this was a good one. I like this one.
Yeah. As soon as you said lights and shadows, my first thought was like, oh, just go out and do a sunrise like I always. And I was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone if you can.
Yeah, it's just the point of this stuff is the challenges, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of creative people in our group.
Nicely done, Pat.
Yeah, well done,
Thank you.
Pat.
Well done.
All right. Anything else for Pat?
I like it.
I love it.
All right, we have one more, and it's going to seem like deja vu, I think. So it's, I'm convinced it's the same place, but it's looking the other direction, I think.
Yeah,
Yep.
I bet you it's the same damn door you want to shut.
It might be. Or it's looking back the other way from the other image was looking sort of what would be behind us here.
Yeah, I bet you it is.
Because the numbers were going the opposite direction, I think, the other time. I think
Yeah.
you were
Yeah.
40, and then the 30s were coming down.
So this one is, I don't think she's on the call either. This is Lisa Tutinas. And I think that, so her and Deb are both at the Seacoast Camera Club, or Seacoast Camera Club. And they, maybe they went on an outing or something. I know they have a competition night, so they're not here tonight, but yeah, this is hers. And it's interesting how it has almost a completely different feel to it than the one just a few images earlier from exactly the same place.
Right.
Right.
The lighting's so much more. It's like before you were in the shadows. This one, I feel like you're like walking. You're walking into the shadows. This one, you're like kind of walking towards the light more.
Yeah.
Walking away from it. I don't know. It's just different. It's the feel of this whole thing is.
This
Yeah,
one's
this
about the doors and being down low, and the other one was up higher, looking at the length a little bit more.
Yeah, the other one was more geometric, whereas this one almost has this. You want to know what's actually outside. You want what's out there.
Yeah.
Like this one has more story to it, I think, whereas the other one was more of a geometric, graphic look at it.
I wish they were both here so we could ask if their mission in this was to actually like shoot from low, if that was their whole purpose of shooting these shots.
I'm wondering if they were essentially back to back shooting.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. Yeah.
Like they were right next to each other shooting these.
Where did they get that wallpaper?
That's a Home Depot.
I like the depth of field she chose too, because it kind of focuses just on the door, so you're not really distracted by what's going on outside or what's in front of you. But you can get that, you can grasp the image of what it really is that's out there. Like you can see that there's the lush green out there, but it's not distracting, taking you away from that door, which I believe is their subject.
Yeah. You know, this has a real Stephen King feel to it to me.
Yeah.
That's a good one, right?
It's funny you say that. The number 22 has such a weird relevance to me in my life. It just keeps popping up all the time. I lived in 3 different apartments that were on a number 22 on different streets and stuff. Like, it's just weird. So this
Kurt
works.
Vonnegut would catch 22. So
Yeah, bam, there you go, right?
Also really interesting to know what's inside those doors.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this isn't a school.
School.
I believe it's an old meeting house, and those were the family areas to sit. I think there's benches inside of them.
Yeah, I was assuming this was an old church.
Yeah, old church, meeting house. Yeah.
Meeting house church, kind of the same thing, but I found it amazing, or the way their viewpoint was, because if you probably stood up here, you'd see all the pews or the benches, and you would have a completely different feel than you're seeing with these doors.
Didn't they do a trip to Sturbridge Village recently?
Behind the doors.
I don't think they're pews, because it looks like there's a wall right here on the right side that's blocking it off. It looks more to me like lockers.
No, there's a meeting house in Danville, and it has these same exact thing.
Yeah, there's an old church in Boston as well that you can go take a tour in that has the doors on the pews like this, and you would sit in almost like box seats.
Yeah.
So I was just playing around with this, and I think like all I did was I brought up these highlights here, and it almost blows it out. But to me, it adds a little bit more, maybe even a little bit more like this mystery, because you can't see all of that stuff. But what happened here? Yeah, so yeah, there we go.
The forward slash.
I can drop the shadows a touch and actually add a little bit of contrast. I don't know. I mean, it's all subjective, but
I like it.
Interesting. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, I wish they were here.
Not answer any of them.
Right?
I know. This is so what I'll do is like always, I'll put a gallery up on the Facebook group, and if you have your questions, just put them in the comments, and I'm sure they'll see that and find out where this was and all that.
I like how the light hits this side of the pews, but the wall's dark in the background, and it does the complete opposite on the other side of it. Behind the door is dark, and the wall's light on that side. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, there must be like a window or something on this side over here.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for a starburst right in the upper right going outside, just to shine inside, or a big light coming through. Just a little bit more.
The light underneath the doors.
I suppose what you could do is, like, if you wanted to have more light, like make like get a radial filter and just bring up the exposure just a little bit.
You mean the light coming in, you mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to like kind of blow it out a little bit further and get rid of some of this green foliage.
Yeah.
Almost like it's a different dimension on the other side of that.
Right. Yeah.
You lose a lot of the door doing it too.
Not if you only bring up highlights, you wouldn't lose much. You just,
the door, if you just bring up highlights, the door should stay the same.
Right.
Hold on a second, I have to do Adobe stupid invert first. You just like brought up the highlights and maybe a little bit of the exposure. And you start to get some of that, like that light halo around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that almost makes it look a little more intriguing. I like how the light pops right underneath the 22 door. in the shadow.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of light there. Yeah, so I mean, if we just like popping, really blowing out those highlights a little bit.
I kind of don't like it that way because that's where your eye is going and you're losing out on the rest of it.
It becomes a light trap.
Yeah. I mean, it sort of is a light trap anyways, but
right.
I don't know. It's to me, it was just playing a little bit more in the mystery of on the other side of that door.
Yeah.
The storytelling aspect of it, as opposed to not so much the photographic. It's a light trap and all of that. Just sometimes the story sort of, in NHPPA it's called impact. And creating a little bit more impact in it. I don't think it really needs it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it's balanced well. I like how the highlights hit the little kickboards right in front of the pews on the side, on the right side of the image. Yeah, that's cool. That's where it creates a lot of the depth.
You know what probably could use is more than anything else is just a little bit of like clarity and texture.
Really cool place.
Bring in some of like the grittiness of it, the old timiness. Catch some of these lines in the floor and some of the grain in the wood here. It's amazing the detail that modern cameras will
render. It's crazy.
But yeah, I think it's really good. And I think it's interesting to see the difference between these two. I think it's obviously the same place, and the photos tell completely different. That's one of the things we all love about what we do, and what we do with our cameras.
So they must have been one over, based on the numbers. Now I can see it. They weren't back to back. You're in the even rows and then the odd rows. So you must be the row behind it.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, they're on the other side. So like the other person.
Yes. It's just shot from the other side from other side.
Yeah. So it'd be on the right picture and on the left hand side the other one.
Actually, if you look at where those pews are, like facing you, the pews could actually go in another direction too. If you look at it that way, if this is like a hallway and then another hallway of pews.
Yeah.
Again, raises so many questions.
Every time you flip it back and forth, I keep thinking of more things.
I'm going to title this one Anxiety.
Yeah, right?
So overall, I think that everybody did a great job with the subject and with the challenge. Nice work.
Yeah, this was fun.
A lot of fun.
So one of the reasons that we chose light and shadows leading into the black and white part of the year is, as you can see by all the black and white images, light and shadows play a big part in black and white.
Yeah.
So take what you picked up here tonight and in doing the challenge going forward, and yeah, go, for pretty much the rest of the year, it's all black and white for us. So
I know. I was a little nervous about dropping this one, to be honest with you.
No, you shouldn't have been. It's great.
Just because the whole noise factor. Whenever somebody sees an image like this, photographers usually be the first one to be like, "Oh, the blacks are not black, and it's too noisy." And but
it's graded nicely. I think. I mean, yeah, you definitely crushed the blacks here a bit.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
exactly what we're talking about, crushing the blacks. Like, this isn't actually black here.
No.
If you can see off the histogram.
Exactly, it's lifted
True
up.
black true black would be right here.
Right.
And he's pushed it way up here.
Yep.
And that's what's called crushing blacks.
That's how I was able to create the washed out flat black look to it.
Yeah, it gives it sort of a matte effect to it, and
yeah,
it evens out the tones quite a lot. But it works on some images, and it works here. So I don't like it on everything, but like any editing technique, it's not going to work on every image. It's just not.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. this isn't my style, really. It's just something I wanted to try. I've seen it, and I just wanted to see if I could pull it off, really.
So, and Christine, I mean, that's it. That's what we do. Hopefully, that critique that you got was helpful. And hopefully you picked up a lot just from what was said about other people's images.
Yes, I did. Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
Welcome.
Questions going forward, you can reach out to me directly, of course. If you decide you want to join the club and come to all the meetings, you can join right on the website. And I can send you a link for that if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And eventually we'll get back out there and we'll back into our normal meeting space where you can actually meet everybody face to face. I just don't know when that will be. But as far as like all the outings and stuff that we talk about, part of the reason that they are members only is that, everybody pays a membership fee, and the outings are members only. So if you want to get out and shoot a little bit and learn from these people, by all means, just join the club and come on out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for coming. All right. Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
It's good to see you guys. Haven't seen you in a while.
Definitely.
Good evening.
Looking forward to going out in a couple of weeks, Jared.
Yep, Lisa, I'll let you know. The thing, I should have something up by the end of the week, hopefully, with the
Okay.
so we can have people.
That I was there earlier this summer at Adams Point, and actually I what was it? Was it Labor Day weekend? Launched a kayak from there and went all out in Great Bay.
No, it's neat. The time of year you start to see the eagles, and you get some herons that are down in there, and so there should be a bunch of wildlife, and then some just like nice areas we can take some pictures of. So I'll put out a list of things I'd recommend bringing with you too. So
Yep, good.
I was at that rookery on the way out there.
Yeah, the rookery's nice. They're
Yes.
set off the road, which is tough even with a 600mm lens, but
Right.
see if I can get something out of that.
Yeah, that was one thing I did this summer, was explored all of the Great Bay, the estuary and the Discovery Center, all of the places in Durham and Newmarket, and it was fun.
I should probably get out there. I live in Dover, and I don't photograph that area. I probably should.
Well, I'd never been out there either, and it was just something to do away, that you could do by yourself.
Right.
And it was close, and you were out walking in the woods and seeing in nature, and it was nice.
Jared, you said you might be doing that the 3rd?
Yeah, I'm thinking the 3rd is going to be the day we do that.
All right.
I think that's the best day that works out for. I think it's going to be right when the fall colors start to peak a little bit, so we'll start to see some color there. So if we want to shoot the leaves and stuff like that, that's awesome. So but I'm thinking sometime in the morning, and then we can go through the early afternoon or something like that.
Right.
People can do longer if they want to. So
Yeah, if it's early enough, I might be able to meet up. I'm shooting a client in the afternoon.
I'll be out at sunrise, but I'll also make sure that people know.
Yeah, that's usually my hours. I don't know if we're friends or not, but please hit me up. So if you're doing sunrise stuff, I'm always out doing that. So.
Sounds good. I can definitely do that.
Yeah.
Will there be a lot of walking out there?
So there's some trails out there. There's a couple hills, but they're you can be on for a little while, but nothing rugged. So we can take it slow. We can walk around. There's a nice big open field too that we can go to. But there's ample parking right around when you go inside of there. So
I just had a knee replacement, and I'm kind of limited a little bit.
Oh, congratulations on your new knee.
You're gonna
Thank you.
once you get back to normal, feel a lot different, but a little slow to start. But if you can't make it on this one, don't overexert yourself, right? We don't want you to get laid up even longer. So we can always get you out there on the next one. We can go back and stop there another time. So
Yeah, outings and workshops and stuff are really a focus going forward for us. The leadership group is really trying to figure out a way to do more of them. So, if you miss this one, there will be more next year as we go into the 2021 and beyond. So, but yeah, I'm all out of bullshit essentially. So,
A lot of wine.
I don't know how else to put it. It's,
You're good at it.
Keep a memory of doing that frozen Old Orchard Beach shoot. 'Cause if you set that up,
absolutely, yeah. We'll definitely. I'll add that to just talking points that we have for our next leadership meeting, and we'll try and get something planned out for that.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
It sucks to hit that place for sunrise, but if you can get out there before the sunrise and catch blue hour going into sunrise, that place is gorgeous. The way the light fells to the pillars and stuff. Oh.
That's one place I want to go to because I want to do some painting of the ocean. So we'll see what we can do. And I think in the wintertime it'd be great because there's no one there.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
All right, good night all. See
All right,
you.
guys. Good night. It's good to see you.
Bye.
Night, everyone.
Bye.